In today's video, I'm gonna be showing you guys exactly how to optimize and improve your ad results by analyzing your meta ad numbers like a freaking pro. So I'm gonna show you exactly what metrics are important to track and how to actually make a shit ton of money with those numbers, because a lot of times there's numbers that look good on Meta but don't actually reflect in your results. So I'm gonna walk you through exactly how to get those results. Okay, welcome to another video. My name's Christian Jamal. If you enjoy these types of videos and you like growing your business with paid advertising, then hit that subscribe button, because I've got tons of new content coming out, as well as tons of very valuable videos already on the channel. I had one of my students come to me and he was having issues closing more deals. And he came to me and he was like, my ads are not working. I just want results. And I was like, okay, cool. What's your show rate? What's your close rate? What's your pickup rate? What's your pitch rate? And none of these numbers made any sense to him. I was like, your meta ads are not what's not working. It's you who's not working on getting meta the data it needs in order to get good results. And that moment was like a light bulb moment, because he was like, it makes sense, because imagine you're giving someone guidance on something you don't even know what it is. You're never gonna succeed doing this, okay? The one thing that is the most important above anything else is to know your numbers, okay? You have two types of numbers. You have your numbers on Meta and your sales numbers, which both are significant when it comes down to optimizing your ad account, okay? So these are the important meta metrics to look out for. So you have CPM, you have CTR, you have average watch time, and average 3-second view. There's a lot of other like cool ones and important ones to know, but if you are still scaling your ads, you're trying to figure out how to get better results, these are the 4 numbers that are super important. CPM simply means the cost of the audience you're targeting. No matter how good your ad is, if you're targeting a wealthy audience, an audience that a lot of people want to target, you're going to pay more for it. That's just simply factual. And then the second part of CPM is, do people like your ads? If you're noticing that your CPM is skyrocketing and increasing either slowly or quickly, you notice that, okay, Meta thinks people don't actually like my ad. Now, that could also mean there's a lot of people that are new, that are bidding to this audience, but the chances are it's not going to make a massive difference how many people are actually bidding on an audience, because the baseline of how many people are actually bidding for it already exists out there in the world. Okay, now obviously you guys know me and you know that I like to put bonuses at the end of my video, so I'm going to make sure to show you a way that is significantly easier to track all of these things. But it's important for you to know what is your winner as number one, and then we take steps backwards and start fixing the leaks in the boat. The next one is click-through rate, and it simply means how good is your call to action. If your call to action is weak, you're going to have a low click-through rate. It's really that simple. Your average watch time is how good is your body, okay? Are people actually watching your video? Are they interested? Are they captivated with what you're talking about? Or are they simply scrolling by, okay? And then average 3-second view is how good is your hook. And honestly, you can even get this to 100%, okay? So the next one that is super important to keep note of, which I'm going to run you through an example, and it's going to make a lot of sense why these are super important, is your important sales metrics. I put here the general ones. You can obviously customize this to your niche, but contact rate, book rate, show rate, pitch rate, and close rate, these are all super important. Now, the difficulty on the sales part is that you can physically pitch 100% of the people you talk to. Does that mean 100% of them are actually qualified to work with you? They don't. But a lot of people shoot themselves in the foot by trying to sell everybody, and then they end up selling nobody, and that's why they don't know their numbers, okay? Contact rate simply means how many people are picking up the phone. If you're getting hundreds of leads, but your pickup rate is 10%, that's a red flag. That's where your boat is leaking. This is less about building the perfect ship, but figuring out where your ship is leaking and patching that up. And that's exactly how this process works. The next one is book rate. How many people are actually going from lead to a booked call, okay? And this is important because this shows you how good the leads are quality-wise, but also how good your setters are, okay? Because if you have a very high contact rate, but your book rate is low, it can mean one of two things. Either the leads are picking up and they're like, oh, I was misguided, I didn't understand what this ad was about, I'm not interested, or your setters just suck and they physically cannot book these individuals. So now this tells you, okay, my problem is not the leads, it's the setters. The next one is show rate. This could mean that people are booking a call, but then they don't actually show up. Okay. Now you're never going to have a 100% show rate, but if this number is lagging behind, this is something you need to tackle, whether it's notifications before the meetings, whether it's actually calling the leads the day of the meeting and confirming the call. There's so many things you can do to fix this, and it has nothing to do with Meta itself. Okay. The next one is pitch rate. How often are you pitching? This means someone is qualified, because to me, if someone answered the phone, they booked a call, and they showed up, doesn't necessarily mean that they are a 100% ideal client for you, okay? Which is why it's a super important number to note, because if you're pitching 100% of everybody, that means you are telling yourself that everybody is an ideal client for me, which likely isn't the case. And then close rate simply means how good you are at handling objection or getting them out of the way before you even pitch. And this is going to signify how many of those calls are you actually collecting cash from. Now that we know which numbers are important, let me ask you guys a quick question. Which one of these numbers do we optimize for? And I mean, obviously, if you're on this video, you don't know exactly the answer, but you might have a slight idea of what you actually do, okay? And I'll be honest with you, it's none of the above, because none of them are revenue numbers. And that's where a lot of people make a mistake, okay? What you want to do is you want to add UTM tracking. And I'll run you guys through an example just so that it makes a lot more sense. If you're optimizing on CPL on this chart, I would argue that ad one would be what you want to scale. Okay. And the truth is that's the correct way of thinking. You spent $10,000 on each one of these ads. Ad one got 10,000 clicks. You're using the same landing page, so your opt-in rate is the same. This is all theory, by the way. But then from ad one, because you got a ton more clicks, you got 1,000 leads versus ad four has 300. Okay. And then your call numbers are 150, 100, 100, pitched 50, 50, 50, 50. You would say, okay, cool. This is something more along the lines of what I'm looking for. Now, to me, this is a red flag already, because on ad two, whoever these leads are going to could signify that they are pitching 100% of these leads, which technically is a bad thing, because you don't want to pitch everybody, because not everybody's your ideal client, which tells me whoever is taking these calls is making a mistake. But what can we do here? Can we maybe get more calls from these 1,000 leads? A lot of people find it to be the easier thing to focus on. But the truth is, if we actually look at the full picture, if we have 25 sales out of the 50 calls that we pitched on ad four, you're seeing that we have 25 sales from 300 leads as compared to 10 sales from 1,000 leads in ad one. And this is exactly why I want to let you guys know that all of the other numbers are important after you figure out what is your actual winner. And this is how you find your winner. So for example, right here, I would significantly rather spend time focusing on how I can get more clicks on ad four than focusing on how I can close more deals out of the 1,000 leads I have in ad one. Now, a lot of people are fooled to want to focus on ad one because you're like, oh my God, I'm getting so many leads. This is great. But that's a lagging metric. It's irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, because you broke even on ad one and you 2.5x your money on ad four. So basically, it's much easier to figure out how to get ad four to get more clicks than to figure out how to get ad one to get more sales. So this is a super important thing to think about, okay? Because now we can use these numbers and trace it back. You guys remember how we were talking about how good your call to action is through the click-through rate, how good your hook is through the 3-second view time. Now these are things you can take ad four and iterate off of ad four. If you go to ad four and you realize, okay, cool, on ad four, it's crushing it on the sales side, but the lagging metric, the reason I'm getting such little clicks is because the call to action sucks. So rather than refilming ads that have zero context, take that ad four, change the call to action, and that is what you need to be testing, not random ads or random iterations of ad one just because you got a bunch of leads. Okay, now let's get to the bonus, my favorite part as usual. This is going to simplify all of this. I'm going to give you guys like a little cheat code on how to ignore all the numbers that I just mentioned to you and get better results than anybody else. Okay, what you want to do is realize that your emotions are always 100% wrong. Okay, you need to treat this at a logical level that is so insanely logical that you are like a robot pretty much. Okay, you want to create a spreadsheet and you want to optimize for the golden metric, which is revenue per call. It's significantly easier to optimize for this than anything else, okay? And then above revenue per call, you can take this a step further, and then you can obviously focus on ROAS, which is return on ad spend, calculating your multiplier on every dollar you put in, okay? But if you think about it, if your ROAS multiplier is the same, the next metric you want to look at is your revenue per call, okay? And that is exactly how you are able to analyze your numbers, because we actually have a full picture of the business from the first dollar that is spent all the way to the last stage of the sale, which is actually closing the deal. So if you want to grow your business, make sure to optimize for things that are relevant to growing it, not things that look good on the screen and have zero effect in actual reality, okay? We're in the real business space, not the theoretical one. So why are you using theoretical numbers to actually optimize a real business? Okay, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you like these types of videos, hit that subscribe button. If you want my team and I to run your ads, there's a link down below. And if you want my help on one-on-one consulting, there's a link down below for that as well. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next one.